Hello and welcome to the AT Center at TCNJ. This three-part webinar series is titled Adapting Meaningful Music Experiences for Persons with Disabilities of All Ages and is presented by Abigail Jones. Abigail is a board-certified music therapist working in New York City. Throughout her practice, she has worked with individuals from birth to death while in medical, educational, memory care, and mental health settings. She has worked in the NICU, PICU, outpatient mental health, special education, and assisted living facilities, and has worked with a wide range of diagnoses. She received her undergraduate degree in music therapy and psychology from UMKC in Kansas City and received her master's at CSU and is also trained in neurologic music therapy techniques. These webinars are made possible through our partnership with the New Jersey Department of Education, Office of Special Education. The statements issued by guest presenters do not reflect the stance of the NJDOE OSC. Please use your professional judgment when implementing strategies and resources within your practice. Let's listen to Abigail as she walks us through information on neurologically informed music experience in schools.
Hi there. My name is Abigail Jones. I'm a music therapist here in New York City, and I'm really excited to talk to you today about adapting music experiences, especially for persons with disabilities who are neurodivergent, and just thinking of creative ways for people to get engaged making music. So, to get started, I just wanted to talk a little bit about myself and my history. Um, so I got my undergraduate degree from the University of Missouri, Kansas City, where I'm originally from. And then I was able to study music therapy and psychology there. So I got my undergraduate degree in both. And then I completed my internship at Children's Mercy Hospital in Kansas City, which was a really wonderful experience working in the medical setting, using music as a therapeutic tool. And then after that 6-month internship, I got my master's degree at the Colorado State University. And I did that online during COVID, but it was such a wonderful experience and really focused on music in the brain. Overall, my experience, I've been practicing as a board certified music therapist for 6 years. I became trained in neurologic music therapy in December of 2023. And then also began sound training in spring of 2024. So using sound as a therapeutic tool as well. I worked with a lot of different populations. So I was lucky to start with an amazing company in the Chicago area. I used to live there and I was contracted out to different facilities. So got a lot of experience there in special education, working with traumatic brain injury, NICU, PICU, oncology, special recreation associations, hospice, procedural support, dementia, schizophrenia, Alzheimer's, stroke, mental health, substance use, and wellness. So from birth to death, I've been able to use music to help others, which has been such an incredible experience in my short 6 years being a music therapist. Currently, I work at the Academy of Hope. It's called iHope. We're in Midtown, and we're a specialized nonprofit school in Midtown, New York. And our students have brain injuries or brain based disorders. So there aren't any typically functioning students at our school. And so I have a wonderful opportunity of collaborating with different providers, teachers, paraprofessionals, and I come and do group music therapy. I do individual sessions with students. And then I also do work on the side where I work individually with older adults with Parkinson's, aphasia, and I also do sound baths as well. So working with sound as therapy. So doing all that right now. So it's a busy but really fun time here in New York. Also, I have a dog, so you might hear her as she walks around. Okay, so to get started, I wanted to just talk about music therapy, what it is, um, just to help you better understand my perspective and like where I'm coming from, and then sharing this knowledge and what I've learned as a music therapist and carrying it over into whatever space that you are in. So, a definition from the American Music Therapy Association is on this slide. I won't read through it, but we'll leave it up for a little bit for you to read. So, the most important thing to note is that music therapy is the use of music as a therapeutic tool for non musical goals. So, we aren't teachers, we're not entertainers. We're really understanding the experience of music sensory wise, emotionally, socially, physically, and using that as a therapeutic tool. So the goals that you can address with music, the goals that are non-musical can be such as the list that you see: promoting wellness, managing stress, alleviating pain, expressing feelings, and like motivating for movement. It can also be increasing communication, improving mood. Uh, there really is a wide range of things you can work on depending on your setting, your training, and what, as a music therapist, I feel like I can do best with the skills that I have and the setting that I'm in. All right. So, this is another definition that I really like. This is by Kenneth Bruscia. He's a pretty important figure in the field of music therapy. So, this is just another nice way of explaining just the incredible experience of making music with other people, using as a therapeutic tool, and what that can mean for promoting change. The history of music therapy, pretty straightforward, but I like to go over it too, just to acknowledge its ancient beginnings and cultural roots. Music has been around as long as we know, or as long as we can record, and um, it's always been used as a therapeutic tool um, across many cultures. And then more recently, here in the United States, our modern roots for music therapists who are practicing now. Those roots took place and started to grow during World War I and World War II. People were coming back from war with PTSD and many symptoms, and they'd bring musicians in to help alleviate those symptoms and to promote relaxation and to help heal from that emotional trauma and physical trauma. So, just noticing that the impact that those musicians had, that's when universities started to form, create programs, and legitimize music therapy as a career here in the United States. So, with that came the establishment of formal training. In 1944, Michigan State University launched the first academic program in music therapy. And this really set the foundation, and so many other universities too, set the foundation for where we're at today. So, in music therapy, we have a few professional organizations that are just helpful to know about if you want to do more research or find your own music therapists that you might want to work with. So, the American Music Therapy Association was formed in 1998. And this is a really great place to go find research. They have conferences and they really advocate for the field. So, this is a very important organization for our field. And then the Certification Board for Music Therapists. This is separate, but equally as important. And this helps strengthen the credibility of what we do. And to become a music therapist in the United States, you have to take an exam, and that's done through CBMT. So once you do all your undergraduate coursework, then you do your internship, then you take the board certification exam through CBMT, and once you pass, then you can practice music therapy. So it's a longer process than a lot of people realize, and I've definitely, as I've explained that through my career, people are amazed at that, but it's for a good reason, and we'll talk about that later, because music is such a powerful tool. So making sure that people understand that effect and have the therapeutic knowledge is really, really important for the people that we work with. So, like I said before, populations can be birth to death. Um, for example, I've worked in the NICU and PICU, oncology, can also help in procedural support, mental health. I worked with women and children fleeing domestic violence. I've worked in outpatient mental health clinics for people with disabilities who also have a diagnosis. And I've also worked in substance use recovery, outpatient recovery. And then you can also work in physical rehab, memory care. I worked a lot in memory care over COVID, virtually, which was crazy. I've worked a lot in education, and that's where I'm at currently. IDDD, and then hospice as well, which I've also been able to do a lot of. So with music being used as a therapeutic tool for non-musical goals, you can really touch on most domains. So cognitive, social, emotional, physical, occupational, and spiritual. So that is a great reason why music is such a great tool. You know, if you are a music therapist or an educator, I think we all understand how helpful music can be. And even where I'm at today and the different places that I've worked, I have seen music used everywhere. And so I think that speaks to this like innate understanding that it can address a lot of things at once. So I touched on this a little bit, but just think it's helpful just so you understand where I'm coming from. And if you come across any other music therapists, you can have a better understanding of what they do. So only people who have completed the following can become a music therapist. So if they say they're a music therapist, but they didn't do these things, then they are not. And if you're looking to hire someone or anything, just make sure that they have MTBC by their name. So you have to complete undergraduate degree at an accredited school. And throughout this time, you do fieldwork placements. So at my current job, I have fieldwork students that come and learn from me. And each semester, you go to a different site and just kind of gather knowledge of how music therapists work and how to work with different populations. And then after you're done with most of your coursework, you do a post-study internship. This can be 6 to 9 months. Mine was 6 months because I was there 7 days a week. But if you do like 3 days a week, then you can stretch it out to 9 months. And you're basically working as a music therapist under supervision. And you need to get 1,200 hours total. So being able to do that at the Children's Hospital was really neat, just getting to know the floors and the staff and working with different types of kids at that hospital. And then after you do your internship and you pass and do all the projects and make sure everything is done, then you can take the board certification exam. This is an all-encompassing exam that is required after internship. So you have to pass to become a music therapist. So if you don't pass, you cannot be a music therapist despite doing all your coursework and your internships. So it's a really big deal when you pass and a huge relief. Okay, so what I wanted to bring you all today was just how to use the profession of music therapy and help it inform maybe how you might implement music into whatever you are doing. So I did just want to note that being aware of how music is inherently emotional, motivational, influential is really important to understand. And that's why I'm really excited to talk you through some important things today. And then having this deeper understanding will help you avoid harm, and then also hopefully help promote engagement and learning and encouragement and, reaching goals in whatever area you're working in. All right. Sorry, the picture's not there, but I'll keep going. So being a communication partner is also really important. I think I've learned a lot about this with AAC users, But again, I feel like just learning how to be present and help someone through an activity, being like a co-learner with someone, the skills that I've learned in being a communication partner has been really helpful. So if you are working with someone who is an AAC user, whether it's light tech, which is picture symbols, mid tech, we're using switches with like a battery device that has a voice output, or if you're using high tech, such as an iPad or an eye gaze device, um, you can do partner assisted scanning where you're scanning through options, pausing, giving wait time, giving a couple, 2 to 3 options at a time, and the option for something different. So, using these different things in the music experience just to make sure that it's an accessible thing, that it's what the student or whoever you're working with really wants. And so, yeah, I just wanted to note the importance of that. Some music therapy approaches and methods. Again, I'm really getting into music therapy, but I feel like it could be really helpful to kind of think through your approach as you're working on whatever you're working on with your clients, your students, and kind of draw from that, and then within your scope of practice, using it as a tool. So, my approach in music therapy is a humanistic and integrative approach. So this really centers around the individual, their potential, their growth, and meeting them where they're at, and really focusing on their personal growth. So integrating these two, I think, really aligns with my values and how I approach working with others. And then also integrative, I use there are many different avenues of music therapy that really have a different lens on the role of music. And I find value in a lot of them. So I like to use an integrative approach to, draw from depending on what person I'm seeing, what makes the most sense, what the setting is, and then start to implement those techniques, whether it's neurologic music therapy or using more of an improvisatory approach. That'll depend on what my assessment is and what the needs are in the moment. So, some methods that music therapists use is improvisational. So, this can be making music spontaneously, where the therapist helps lead, but the clients really can take the lead in this experience, expressing themselves through improvised sounds. So, you can do this with or without instruments, whether you're musical or not. And then this can help foster communication, self expression, and emotional exploration. There's the receptive method, and so that's listening to and responding to music selected by the therapist or client. And this is used to evoke emotion, allow for some processing, and can also promote relaxation. And then there's a compositional method. And so this is writing a song. So a little bit than improvisation. You're just like there in the moment, but compositional, you're really thinking through the structure of a song and creating musical pieces, which can help someone organize their thoughts, their emotions, and do that in a creative and safe way. And then there's recreative. So with this method, you're learning or performing pre-composed music, which can boost confidence. So they're already familiar with, a specific song, and then they can recreate it in their own way. And that's like a really fun way to interact with music. And if you're not super musical, that's a really easy route to creating something new, but not having to write a song from scratch. So, some music therapy informed activities in education. So, I already spoke on this a little bit, but just as I'm talking about these things as I'm talking through things that I do as a music therapist trained in a therapeutic way, just keeping in mind, like staying within your scope of practice. So, if there's anything that comes up emotionally, making sure that you're connecting with appropriate staff that are trained to address psychosocial needs and psychotherapeutic needs. So, but these things that I share, and if you're using music already, addressing attention, memory, regulation and communication and like certain behaviors, that's okay. But just understanding how music is such a powerful tool. So it can bring up things. So that might happen during music making. So just keeping that in mind and having a plan. And then just understanding how music is powerful, and can be powerful in a negative way too. Music's not always positive. So, if you have a really terrible experience with a song that everyone associates as like a happy song, um, and you hear that song during a class, then that could trigger an emotion. So getting to know whoever you're working with before you engage a lot with music in like a more targeted way is really important. And then again, if anything comes up, having someone go to a counselor, a therapist, a social worker who is trained in working with those needs.
Thank you for joining us. Are you a New Jersey educator looking for support or professional development tailored to your district's assistive technology needs? We offer free, customized training and coaching for New Jersey teachers, paraprofessionals, and families. From hands-on workshops to individual classroom support, as well as small group facilitation, we are here to help. Visit us at atcenter.tcnj.edu to learn more. Have a question? Contact us anytime at atcenter@tcnj.edu. Please like this video, leave us a comment, and subscribe for more content on all things related to assistive technology.